Ivan Dmitritch, a perfectly ordinary bloke, lived with his family on 1,200 a year and wasn't complaining. After supper, he sat down on the sofa and started reading the newspaper. Ivan Dmitritch wasn't one for believing in lottery luck. He wouldn't normally bother checking the results, but since he had nothing better to do and the newspaper was right there, he ran his finger down the column of numbers. And wouldn't you know it, as if to mock his doubt, there it was on the second line, 9,499. He couldn't believe his eyes. He quickly dropped the paper onto his lap without checking the ticket number, and a shiver ran down his spine like someone had poured ice water down his back. A tingling, terrifying yet thrilling sensation. Looking at his wife, Ivan Dmitritch grinned like a Cheshire cat, a wide, silly grin. His wife smiled too. She was pleased he'd only mentioned the series and hadn't checked the ticket number yet. The thrill of anticipation, the tantalizing hope of a potential win. It was exhilarating. Pictures flooded his imagination, each more idyllic than the last. In every scene he saw himself well-fed, relaxed and healthy, feeling warm, even hot. He imagined himself lying on the scorching sand by a river or under a lime tree in the garden after a bowl of ice-cold soup. It's hot. His little boy and girl are playing nearby, digging in the sand or chasing ladybirds. He dozes peacefully. Not a care in the world, knowing he doesn't have to go to work today, tomorrow, or the day after. Or, if he gets tired of lounging, he goes for a stroll in the hayfield, mushroom picking in the woods, or watches the local lads fishing with a net. As the sun sets, he grabs his towel and soap and heads to the bathing shed where he slowly undresses, rubs his bare chest and slips into the water. Tiny fish dart around the milky, soapy swirls, and green weeds sway gently. After his swim, it's tea and cream with soft rolls. In the evening, a walk or a glass of wine with the neighbours. Ivan Dmitritch pictured autumn, with its rain, chilly evenings and Indian summer. He'd take long walks in the garden and by the river, just to get a good chill, then come back for a large vodka and a pickled mushroom or gherkin, followed by another vodka. The children would come running from the vegetable patch with a muddy carrot and radish. Then he'd stretch out on the sofa and flick through a magazine or doze off with it covering his face, waistcoat unbuttoned. After the Indian summer, the weather turns grey and gloomy. It rains day and night, the bare trees dripping, the wind damp and cold. The dogs, the horses, the chickens all wet, miserable and glum. Nowhere to go, stuck inside for days, pacing restlessly, staring out the dreary window. How depressing. Then he started thinking how lovely it would be to escape the autumn gloom and go abroad. The south of France, Italy, India. He paced the room, lost in thought. What if his wife came along? It would be much nicer to travel alone or with some lively, carefree women who live for the moment, not someone who spends the entire journey worrying about the children, sighing and fretting over every penny. He imagined his wife on the train, surrounded by parcels, baskets and bags, sighing about something, complaining of a headache and moaning about how much money she'd spent. At every station, he'd be running around fetching hot water, bread and butter. She wouldn't have lunch because it was too expensive. And for the first time, it struck him that his wife had grown old and plain, and she smelled perpetually of cooking, while he was still young, fit and could easily marry again. He thought about her relatives, all those pesky brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles. They'd come crawling out of the woodwork as soon as they heard about the lottery win, begging and grovelling with fake, sycophantic smiles. Awful, irritating people. Give them an inch, they'd take a mile, refuse them, and they'd curse him, spread rumours, and wish him all sorts of bad luck. He thought about his own family and their faces, which he'd always considered normal, now seemed repulsive and hateful. And his wife's face, too, now seemed repulsive and hateful. Anger flared inside him, and he thought bitterly, she's clueless about money, that's why she's so tight-fisted. If she won, she'd give me 100 quid and lock the rest away. He glared at his wife, no longer smiling but with pure loathing. She glared back, equally filled with hatred and anger. She had her own dreams, her own plans, her own thoughts. She knew exactly what he was thinking. He saw the look in her eye. Hatred boiled inside him again, and just to spite her, he quickly glanced at the newspaper at the 4th page and read out triumphantly, Series 9499, number 46, not 26. Hope and hatred vanished in an instant. Suddenly, the room felt small, dark and cramped. The supper they'd just eaten sat heavy in their stomachs, the evening stretching out long and tedious. What a bloody mess! Bits of paper, crumbs and rubbish everywhere. The place is never clean. I can't stand it. I'm going to go and hang myself from the nearest tree.